Well, it's noon here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics. I'm Kayode Okikelu. First, the top stories. Well, more hurdles for former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello as the federal government files fresh 16-count charge bordering on alleged criminal breach of trust to the tune of 110 billion naira against him. But his media office objects to this and accuses the EFCC of pursuing a vendetta. Inspector General of Police commends his officers for their conduct during the Edo governorship election, which saw the APC candidate, Senator Monday Okwewolo, winning. Asks some squads to, however, stay back to keep the peace. An uneasy calm in President Bola Tinubu's cabinet after the announcement of an imminent reshuffle. Who goes, who stays? But ultimately, how will his government fix the economic and security challenges confronting it? Well, that's the big question. Well, let's get into the big stories this afternoon. The federal government has filed a fresh 16-count charge against former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello. The charge, filed before Federal Capital Territory High Court Abuja, borders on criminal breach of trust to the tune of 110,446,470,089 kobo. This, the Commission says, is contrary to Sections 96 and 311 of Penal Code Law Cap 89 Laws of Northern Nigeria, 1963, and punishable under Section 312 of same law. The former governor is to face this fresh 16-count charge alongside two officials of Kogi State government, Abdulsalami Hudu and Umar Oricha. The defendants were alleged to have used state funds from the Kogi State Treasury to acquire properties in highbrow areas within the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja, and in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. Meanwhile, the media office of the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, has accused the EFCC of vendetta and desperation to execute what they call a hatchet job for unknown interests. In a statement signed by its director, Ohere Michael, the ex-governor's media office said this had been made evident by the various operational and procedural blunders, their words, committed by the anti-corruption agency since inception of its alleged money laundering case against him. It described the statement released by the EFCC on Wednesday, titled Yahaya Bello must have his day in court, as what it calls a face-saving but badly scripted statement. The former governor's team notes that the EFCC had already shown to the world that this seemed more like a fixation on Kogi State and ex-governor Bello than its purported fight against corruption. Mr. O'Hare referred to the events of last Wednesday when the former governor went to the premises of the EFCC but was not interrogated or detained after hours. But eventually, the EFCC is said to have laid siege on the Kogi State government lodge the same night. The statement adds that the former governor will have his day in court as no one was contesting it, but it will be in line with the rule of law and not as prescribed by the EFCC. Speaking of investigations, the Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has directed an unconditional and comprehensive investigation into the allegations of bribery and corruption within the Nigerian Correctional Service. A statement issued by the SA Media and Publicity to the Minister, Mr. Babatunde Alao, says he unequivocally condemned the alleged reprehensible behavior, emphasizing that any form of indiscipline, unprofessionalism, and corruption will be met with zero tolerance and severe consequences within the parliamentary services under his purview. The minister also has also called for a special investigative team headed by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Dr. Magdalene Ajani, to probe these allegations and submit a comprehensive report. The minister reassures the public that the investigation will be rigorous, transparent, and impartial, and that appropriate disciplinary actions will be taken against any personnel found guilty. And now to election matters. A coalition of 15 civil society organizations in Abuja have presented 16 priority areas of electoral reforms comprising recommendations for the unbundling of INEC, that's Independent National Electoral Commission, a diaspora voting, and the establishment of an Electoral Offences Commission. The document, which is tagged Citizens Memorandum of Electoral Reforms, also made other recommendations for the alteration of the 2022 Electoral Act to address what they describe as irregularities and ambiguities that have hindered the efficient application of the Act.
It's a gathering of leaders of various civil society organizations who have worked in the electoral space in Nigeria. They are here to make public presentation of recommendations for electoral reforms as the National Assembly prepares for another round of amendments to the existing electoral laws.
The memorandum we present today focuses on three core pillars of the electoral legal framework for the conduct of elections: the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, the Electoral Act 2022, and INEC regulations and guidelines for elections. These proposals aim to strengthen the independence of INEC, improve the processes for electoral adjudication, and refine key constitutional provisions to ensure fairness, transparency, and inclusivity in our electoral process.
The group is recommending 16 priority areas for the National Assembly to look into. These include the recommendation for the unbundling of INEC, the establishment of Electoral Offences Commission, political party reforms, and diaspora voting.
Play a vital role in strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
The group also speak on the need for the National Assembly to consider reforms around election results management process and election adjudication.
I think the point about collation of results have been tackled. It's contained in the memo. What needs to be done? We need greater transparency, in our results collation process, even if it means subjecting it to some sort of independent audit of the of the results process is critical. In this memo, we also have provisions around how to strengthen the election adjudication process. And more importantly, we've advanced detailed recommendations on issues relating to the timelines for concluding election disputes. We also look at the need for the courts to, in the course of addressing or resolving electoral disputes, be guided by certain democratic values and principles.
The group hopes to pass the documents to the National Assembly to serve as a crucial resource as the lawmakers embark on a fresh electoral reform exercise.
Let's now zero in on the just concluded Edo governorship election. The Labour Party candidate in that election, Mr. Olumide Akpata, says he is disappointed in the electorate as he claims that they were induced by political opponents to sell their votes. When asked if he is willing to challenge the outcome of the election in court, he explains that he is meeting with the party's legal team and his team of lawyers to finalize the next move to take. He was speaking on our political program, Politics Today.
Occurred, firstly, I would say, and my people are crunching the numbers still, but we are saying that somewhere in the region of 300,000 of those votes were bought. Secondly, you find out that the people themselves were very willing, were in fact on the lookout for buyers for their votes. And we're looking out for the highest bidder. So it was a willing buyer, willing seller scenario. So that for me is that's how I can describe the process to you. Vote buying, voter apathy, and then mayhem at the and chaos at the collation center. It is a decision that the Labour Party and I would have to take jointly, whether or not we will challenge the outcome of the elections. I am going to be meeting with my lawyers. The Labour Party will also be meeting with its lawyers, and then we will come to a decision whether or not we will be challenging the outcome of the elections. Just as doctors are not expected to treat themselves, lawyers should also be very cautious. So instinctively, I would have arrived at a decision whether or not to go on or to the tribunal or not, as an individual who is legally trained. But it's important for me to take a back seat on this one and allow my lawyers, based on the evidence that we have and the evidence that is still being collected, to make the determination on my behalf. Of course, I will be involved in that conversation. Of course, my 31 years as a lawyer will be of some benefit when we analyze. My 31 years experience as a lawyer will come in handy as we analyze the issues. But that call has not been made yet.
Another area of that election, major talking point was security. And the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Yahaya Bello, has commended his men and women and other security agencies for what he called exceptional professional conduct during that election. The IGP also directed tactical squads and intelligence contingents to remain in the states to continue to fortify security measures until further notice. The police chief assures that all arrested persons for electoral offences will be prosecuted by INEC, while those arrested for other criminal offences will be arraigned accordingly.
The Republic of Nigeria, IGP Olukayode Adeoluegbetukun, PhD 9 PM, has commended the Nigerian Police Force personnel and other security agencies for their exceptional professional conduct during the recently concluded Edo State governorship elections. The peaceful conduct of the governorship election serves as a testament to the dedication and hard work of the security forces. The IGP specifically expresses appreciation for the exemplary display of discipline and neutrality exhibited by security personnel throughout the election period. Their commitment to maintaining law and order, ensuring public safety, and protecting the democratic process is truly commendable. In the same vein, the IGP also salutes the courage, maturity, and resilience of the good people of Edo State for their orderliness and exhibition of democratic values during the polls, urging them to remain calm, law-abiding, and vigilant even as the electoral process has been peacefully concluded. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Adeoluegbetukun, assures members of the public of steadfastness in the commitment of the Nigerian Police Force to ensuring the safety and security of the people of Nigeria. The IGP has therefore directed tactical squads and intelligence contingents to remain in the state to continue to fortify security measures until further notice.
Well, let's drill deeper, shall we? We're joined on the program by an APC chieftain, former Federal Commissioner in the Public Complaints Commission, Solicitor of Supreme Court of England and Wales, and Barrister Supreme Court of Nigeria, Mr. Oladele Bankole Balogun, joins us via Zoom. You're welcome to Lunchtime Politics.
Thank you, Kayode. I'm absolutely delighted to be on your program today.
Now, you wear different caps. Well, one cap you have removed. You are in the PDP in the build-up to this election, right? And then you've won the APC cap. So you had like a front row seat to the PDP's campaign up until May when you left the PDP, and then at least front row seat to APC's campaign and all that played out. So maybe you can give us some insight into maybe something a lot of people may have missed about the intrigues of this Edo election. Yes, it's almost a week after the election, but a lot of things happened that people are still trying to wrap their heads around.
Well, yes. Thank you very, very much for giving me this opportunity to be able to explain some of the things that happened in Edo State, such that the PDP has lost paradise there. Essentially, what has happened in Edo State is that the inability of Godwin Obaseki's PDP to hold on to his traditional base cost them that election. So what you had is the pivotal role of the legacy, what turned out to be the legacy PDP, doing tremendous damage to the fortune of the PDP in Edo State.
Well, there's a lot behind that, definitely. But you left the PDP just months before the elections, in May, joined the APC. And I don't know what you saw. I don't know what made you take that decision. But did you perhaps see that PDP was not going to win this election? I thought, well, I cannot stay with this sinking ship, in quote. Let me jump ship. Is that what you saw as well? Oh dear, I say the connection is frozen there, but not to worry. We'll reconnect with Mr. Bankole Balogun till he returns. Let's just tell you that even though the election is over, there's still a lot of dust raised by that election that is yet to settle. Little wonder why the IGP asked the tactical squads and intelligence contingents to remain in Edo State, even though the election is done and a winner, Senator Monday Okwebolo, has been called in that election. We know the PDP says, well, it will go to court. Labour Party candidate says, well, I'm waiting for advice from the legal team and my lawyers. But clearly, this election appears to be far from over. A new CJN in place means that this will be her very first election petition that she will be overseeing in that sense. But we'll take a break now. And when we return, we'll hopefully continue our conversation with Mr. Bankole Balogun and tell you the latest in that EFCC Correctional Center Bob Risky matter. That's in a moment. Stay with us. You're welcome back to Lunchtime Politics, Mr. Oladile Bankole Balogun. So with us on the program, we've since gotten him back, former Federal Commissioner in Public Complaints Commission, an APC chieftain. Well, Mr. Bankole Balogun, I was asking you earlier on if you saw the future and then you decided to jump ship, thinking, well, this is a sinking ship, I won't be caught on this ship. Is that what you saw? And then we'll dovetail into the other issues.
Well, I mean, that's not too bad a characterization, but as I said, you know, a lot of us from the nucleus of the PDP, we made several entities to the highest echelons of the PDP. I stood up at a meeting with the National Working Committee in December last year, along with top leaders of the party, and warned them of the misfortune that would befall the party should we walk blindfolded into Obaseki's vision of an Edo State, you know, beyond his tenure. They all refused that, and it is now what it is. But it's not a matter of jumping ship. It's a matter of having the principle to do what is right for the great people of Edo State. And when it became absolutely clear that myself and a lot of well-meaning Edo people, I mean, I am talking of people like, you know, the current deputy governor of Edo State, people like Right Honorable Philip Shoaibu. I'm talking of the likes of Wede Hama. I'm talking of the likes of Haja Hadiza and several other people. You know, it became absolutely clear that the tornado that was coming, the PDP would not be able to withstand it. And because, you know, the Constitution allows each and every Nigerian to have a freedom of association, the next best thing to do before it became, as you said, a situation of a sinking ship was to align with progressive forces in the best interest of the people of the state.
Well, two things here. One, I wonder if you'll then be able to look at the conduct and the outcome of this election objectively. Again, because you were on ground. You monitored this, you voted, I imagine you voted, and then you were in the situation room. So I worry that you may not be able to look at this objectively, but I'll still throw the question anyway. If you were in the PDP, because the whole of the PDP said, this election is not credible. We noticed a lot of issues with this election. Therefore, we're going to contest it. And there's, in fact, different words have been used to describe this election. Say it's one of the most disappointing, travesty, and all of that. But now, because you're in the APC, I wonder if you'll be able to look at it objectively. From what you saw, do you agree with your, I imagine you're still your friends, colleagues, do you agree with those views, the candidate of the party, the governor himself?
Well, I mean, I would never agree with Godwin Obaseki. That's you know, standard.
Even if he's saying the truth?
Well, I would never agree because, you know, the truth, you know, is you know, quite frankly, with Godwin Obaseki, you know, in fact, I don't want to even go there. Right. Now, what I want to do is to try and address, you know, the issue that you have raised in a very analytical manner. Yes, you're right. Some people might think, oh, well, he's not going to be objective. But the point is that in this election has been a free and fair election. International observers have looked at this, you know, election. The American government, through its embassy, you know, have given thumbs up to this, you know, election, which is a major plus. Now, when you look at the analysis, there is no way that the PDP would have won this election. If you allow me to take it senatorial zone by senatorial zone, you will understand that the tornado or the tsunami that befell it, was going to be absolute disaster. I mean, if you take Edo North, for example, where I come from, now Edo North is the bastion of the APC. Edo North, in the last presidential elections, scored the highest votes for the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, presented, or rather produced, a senator and all the members of the House of Representatives. Edo North is where Senator Adams Oshomole comes from. He's revered in that area. He's almost like a godlike status in that area. Edo North is where Philip Shoaibu comes from. Edo North is where I come from. Edo North is where Ajoto comes from, the former Speaker of the House of Edo State House of Assembly. So how on earth strategically did they think that they were going to win Edo North? As a matter of fact, Edo North produced the highest votes for the APC because of Obaseki's failed programs. He promised an airport. It's nowhere to be found. He's promised all sorts of weird and wonderful things. In my local government, Akoko Edo, which produced the highest votes in the whole of Edo State, not one single government presence, not one single government presence in 8 years. I mean, our politics is moving, slowly developing, Kayode. Right. And so people must learn to go with the times. I would urge my good friend Aswe Ighodalo and Olumide Akpata, I would urge them to say, look, this election has been keenly, and it was actually keenly fought. All the parties traversed, all the 196 196 wards in the state. It was keenly fought. It has been won. It has been lost. I expect them to go on television, on national radio and all whatnot and say, look, Senator Monday Okpebholo, you've fought a great fight. We never expected you to win. You've done the job. You've won. Right. We wish you all the best. And then they go back to the drawing board and wait for another 4 years.
Well, quite a number of issues to raise because the coalition of civil society organizations are basically calling for an amendment now to our electoral laws just before we get into the big one. So they're calling for the unbundling of INEC, establishment of Electoral Offences Commission, in fact, calling for some sort of independent audit of election results so that we can reduce, all of the objections to elections. You expect that once elections are conducted, people can move on about their businesses. But what we see is that there are petitions and all of that, and it drags the whole process, distracts from the, governance itself. So that's another thing to chew on. But because of your expertise, I did say that you wear a lot of caps today. There's something I need to get your intervention on as a barrister of the Supreme Court, and it's this EFCC correctional service matter. Someone who was sent to do jail time, and then an audio leaks, and that's a Bobrisky's case. I wonder if you've looked at that case and you find anything curious, and who should be answering questions at this point. Is there anything you find curious about that?
Kayode, I'm sure it would be, a very funny one to say that I don't know Bobrisky. I've never met Bobrisky. I've heard so much about this Bobrisky, so I'm not one of those people who are interested in Bobrisky's saga and life story. I'm sorry to say, I'm really sorry to disappoint you that I haven't been following Bobrisky's travels and trials. So sorry to disappoint you.
No, you're not disappointing me. This is not about Bobrisky. This is about institutions. Can someone who is meant to go to jail then do the jail term or the time in a private facility? These are the issues. It's not about the person, but the institutions. But it's okay if you're pleading the fifth. Hey, who am I to say no? We'd like to thank you so much. I'm talking about Oladele Bankole Balogun, member of the APC. Used to be in the PDP until May. But hey, he saw the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Well, let's tell you that President Bola Tinubu has expressed a desire to reshuffle his cabinet. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, confirmed this to State House correspondents while briefing them on some national issues at the presidential villa. He notes that contrary to insinuations in some quarters, the current government has recorded significant achievement in its quest to transform the economy, which members of the public are unaware of, in his words.
The president actually gave an order to all his ministers to go out there to speak about the activities of his government. Some of them have been media shy, TV shy, radio shy, and he wants them to really overcome all that and go out there, speak about what they have been doing the past year. Because as he said, the feeling outside there that some people feel the government is not doing anything, and government have been doing a lot. And he believes that it is up to them to go out there and blow their trumpets. As for cabinet reshuffle, let me tell you, I don't have any timeline. The president has expressed his desire to reshuffle his cabinet, and he will do it. I don't know whether he wants to do it before October 1, but he will surely do it.
We also need to realize that the president's decision to reshuffle is also based on empirical evidence. You know, he has said it when he was doing the retreat for the ministers that it was going to, they were going to have periodic reviews, and the decisions that are extracted from those reviews will be used to make that final decision. I know he's gotten a couple of reports, and as Mr. Ononuga said, when he's ready to do that, I believe he will.
And there you have it. That's the show for this afternoon. Thank you for watching. I'm Kayode Okikule. Stay with Channels Television for all of your breaking news and reports.